We are the ones who don't know what we're fighting for. Give us a gun and send us all off to war. We are the ones who grow up in violent homes. We are the ones who don't know what's right or wrong. I know. We are the ones who were born into war. We are the ones who just don't give a fuck no more. No more. We are the ones who don't know why we're losing score. Give them a badge so they can send us to the morgue. We are the ones who are scared to walk out the door. We are the ones who don't know what we're dying for. I know. We are the ones who were born into war. We are the ones who just don't give a fuck now. We are the ones who were born into war. We are the ones who just don't give a fuck no more. Get off his fucking neck. Let me shoot you. He can't fucking breathe. Let me shoot you. We are the ones who were born into war. We are the ones who just don't give a fuck now. We are the ones who were born into war. We are the ones who just don't give a fuck no more.
Warning: this podcast features adult subject matter, adult language, and things not meant for children to hear. Viewer discretion is advised. You've been warned.
If it's Thursday, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of appropriate ages, to the latest episode of the I'm No Joe podcast, the show where every armchair quarterback can feel like Eddie Bravo. Today, as like most days, I have got a glorious panel here with me to break down all the shit talking and shenanigans, the fight announcements and fuckery that has all trickled out the MMA pipeline since we saw you wonderful folks last. Before we get into all that, though, first and foremost, gentlemen, how you doing over there?
Busier than a one-legged man in an ass-kicking contest this week. Maple
You
syrup
too, huh?
season. Oh yeah, maple syrup season has started. I'm training newbies. I'm fucking doing other shit that's got to be done. Now, before we get into this, I do want to blow everybody's mind, to include those that are listening. And I say blow your mind in two ways. One, this weekend, March 7th, I'm going to do some self-promotion here because I think it's very necessary.
Absolutely.
We are doing a fundraiser to raise money to get bicycles for kids that are less than well-to-do. And brand new bicycles. That is going to be on Fresh L3's YouTube channel. I've been posting about it all week. I don't post shit. So that's when you know it means a lot. Now, I know that blows your mind because I'm going to be live on YouTube on a Saturday, not just Thursday. But here's the mind-boggling thing. Do you guys all know the difference between a million and a billion? Take a guess. If I say 1,000,000 seconds, how many days is that?
I think that's like,
Take a
isn't that
guess.
like 10 years or something like that?
No. 1,000,000 seconds is 11 days. Well, 11 and a half. Now, if I was to say, how many days is 1,000,000,000 seconds? How many days do you think that would be?
That should be, what is it's 10 times more? Or is it 100 times more?
Take a guess.
I think it's 100 times more. So that'd be like 3 months, I think.
No, 1,000,000,000 seconds is 31 years.
Oh, I forgot to carry the one.
So think about this. When somebody says, oh, this dude's a millionaire versus a billionaire, there's a huge fucking difference. So blow everybody's mind a little bit. Enjoy that. Enjoy the upcoming card because we finally have a decent card to talk about. So yeah, here we
Right.
go. Happy
Yeah,
Thursday.
and whether you are watching this or listening to this, the link to Fresho 3's channel where we will be doing that live stream is in the description. If you are listening to this, obviously you are a week late, so go down, click on that link, go over to the video that we did, and the links to where you can donate to help us out should be in that video. And once this goes live, I will make sure all those links are here as well. So if you have a spare penny and a spare minute on Saturday, bring your fucking ass over to that live stream and help us raise some fucking money to get some kids who don't have one a new bike so they can have some fun on Easter like the rest of us will.
Yeah, I second that. Hopefully, we do pretty good raising some money this weekend. Hopefully, people tune in and help support if you can't fucking throw some money in there. Looking forward to some good ass fights this weekend.
Fuck yeah.
I'm just here for the pretty colors.
It's
I'd
all
have
right.
known that I'd awarded something other than black.
We can make it work though. We can make it work. Oh, well, with that being said, we're going to go ahead and kick things off here the way that we like to with a little bit of news and recent events, fight confirmations, fight cancellations, official rumor confirmations and denials, things like that, relevant things that happened in the sports world we feel that you folks need to know about since we spoke to you last. First and foremost here, we actually get to have a week where we don't have to start with some bullshit that happened at the last show. It was all good. Everybody made weight. Mexico was a hell of a fucking card. So good on them. So going right into moving forward here, we start out. It's a bit of a head scratcher, but it is a thing, and everybody should be aware of it because there may be some tailings coming off of how this plays out. An organization called Hype Fight Championship is putting on a card down in Brazil next week on March 11th, and headlining that card in a submission grappling only match will be Jorge Masvidal versus Shara Bullet Magomedov. Jorge Masvidal has exactly 2 submissions on his entire professional career. The last one was 11 years ago. Shara Bullet does not even have a single takedown on his entire UFC resume. Not even a fucking attempt. Not one. So how and why these two ended up headlining a card in Brazil in a submission only match, I'm not entirely sure, but there could be interesting fallout from this one.
I will say that was definitely not on my bingo card this year, that's for sure.
Yeah, no, that one got a whole lot of people going, "Wait, what?" I'm one of them. um Going on from there. As of right now, whether you are watching us live or listening to this in the audio only replay does not matter either way. Running from right now until March 27th, Ultimate Fighter Season 34 is officially taking auditions. This season, they have not announced any of the coaches yet, but what they did announce is that the categories for fighters will be the men's bantamweight, 135 pounds, and the women's 115-pound divisions that are both taking on people, which seems to be a little strange because both of those divisions right now are pretty well fucking stacked and doing well. And there are definitely other divisions on both sides of the UFC house that would desperately need some new blood being brought into them, and they're just going to let them out there to hang. 135-pound men, 115-pound women on another Ultimate Fighter. So we'll see how that one plays out. For those of you who've been playing along and following along with this interesting experiment, we got the official confirmation May 7th at the Blood for Blood Festival. Alex the Terrible will officially be making his United States bare knuckle debut. He has had a couple of, I guess you could call them amateur bare knuckle matches leading up to this, but has been talking about wanting to actually make it a thing. It is now officially a thing. May 7th, Alex the Terrible will be stepping into the cage with his hands wrapped and not his knuckles, because he's gonna do the damn thing. So it's gonna be interesting to see how that one plays out. His opponent has about the same amount of experience as he does, so it's not like they're tossing him a softball, but they're not throwing him into the wolves either. Could be an interesting matchup to see. Definitely could impact their touring schedule for the rest of the year, depending on how that plays out. But props to him for putting his money where his fucking mouth is here. I'm curious to see how it works for him. We got official word here. There's been a lot of rumors. The UFC put those to bed. May 9th will officially be UFC 328, taking place in Newark, New Jersey. As of now, we do not have any fights officially. There are 2 fights that are booked and are potentially going to go on that card, but even those haven't been confirmed yet. As of right now, we just know it's going to be May 9th and it's going to be in Newark, New Jersey. So I'm sure the fights will be coming pretty soon once we get this going back to the quote unquote war room on Tuesday. Another kind of head scratcher here, but one that I felt was, warranted in talking about here. May 23rd will be the PFL Brussels card, and they officially confirmed their headliner yesterday. Coming out of retirement will be one Benson Henderson versus a gentleman named Patrick Habadora. Benson has been retired for almost 4 years now and has not been doing much MMA competition. He did a little bit of grappling. He did some karate combat fucking around, but hasn't really been active for the most part since he stepped away from the sport. Jumping right back in and headlining a card for the PFL, kind of a bold strategy in my opinion. So I'm definitely curious to see which version of Benson Henderson steps into that cage in a couple of weeks, because the one that we saw in his last couple fights was absolutely correct in making the decision to retire, in my opinion.
And
He hasn't
he also
found
got
some.
rolled up over in RAF too.
That's true. He also got his ass handed to him over in the pure wrestling side of things as well. So unless he has found that Cowboy Cerrone magic combo of fucking peptides, I'm not really sure why he's deciding now and a headlining main event of all things to come out of retirement for. So it's a thing. I will definitely be watching that, or at least as much of it as I can when it gets here. But it's a bit of an odd choice in my opinion. But speaking of odd choices, on the exact same day as PFL Brussels, in front of the pyramids of Giza, will be none other than Alexander Usyk defending his WBC heavyweight title belt against Rico Verhoeven, the kickboxer, in a straight boxing match that has officially been sanctioned by the WBC. The fight itself got announced last weekend, and then Tuesday of this week, the WBC sanctioning body actually released a statement that says that they had a meeting in Bangkok a couple months back, and Alexander petitioned for a voluntary title fight, which means he gets to skip the next boxing mandatory dictated match and throw one of his fights that he wants to make and a title fight. And they granted him one, and he apparently filled out all the paperwork, dotted all his I's and crossed all his T's so that he could make his next title fight Rico Verhoeven in a boxing match, and the WBC sanctioned it, and they're going to put the fucking fight on in front of the pyramids of Giza. Definitely not on my fucking bingo card, but another one. We'll have to see how this one turns out. Rico Verhoeven is no fucking slouch. If you're unfamiliar with his name, I encourage you, when this show is over, take 5 minutes, just throw his name into YouTube. Let whatever videos YouTube recommends for you go down a couple and grab one at random. Rico Verhoeven is that motherfucker in the kickboxing world and has been for a hot minute. So this could be a very big freak show. This could be a very interesting match. There's really not a whole lot to know for sure until we get to the pyramids, apparently. So that's gonna be a thing. Next one here made me scratch my head a little bit. I have to say, in all fairness, on one hand, I kind of understand where they're coming from with this one. On the other hand, go fuck yourself. The UFC has officially announced this week, after the signing of Nikki Rodriguez to UFC Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, that UFC Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu athletes are now officially banned from competing in any ADCC competition while on the active roster of the UFC BJJ competition. That's kind of fucked, because one of the ways that they get their athletes for UFC BJJ is by looking literally at ADCC champions and medal winners, podium placers. That's where the vast majority of the UFC BJJ competitors came from. So to say that now that they're in UFC BJJ, they can't go back and compete, a little fucking weird to say the least. Especially considering that now Dana is also dipping his cruddy little fucking toes into the world of boxing, with Zuffa Boxing now officially being an up and running thing. Kind of a weird stance to take is the way that I think I would put it. I understand it from a business side of things, but at the same time, this is not a traditional business, and I don't think it should be treated like one. That's not the way that combat sports genuinely work. It'll be interesting to see how that goes forward. But as of right now, I think the biggest thing that surprised me wasn't that the UFC made this announcement. It was that the UFC made this announcement, and then Mikey Musumeci jumped on board and said that he agrees with it, that it should be more like leagues where if you play for one, you don't get to compete in the others. How they've brainwashed him, of all people, into a stance like that, I just don't fucking know. Hopefully he makes some clarifying statements to follow up on that, but
I hope he does, because what he put out, I did see, and I don't watch a lot of socials lately, and that actually made me lose a good amount of respect for Darth Rigatoni there.
right? Like
Like, I
instantly,
get it. You're the current champ. You are the boss's baby right now. But at
right.
the same
But
time, there was a higher level expectation or higher standard that I held him to.
right.
When he said fuck one, when they decided to take his belt and move on, good on you. Are you going to do the same thing here when they fucking do the same thing to you? Because that's how the UFC does roll.
Dana will absolutely do that, and he won't fucking feel bad about it in the slightest. Yeah. I don't know, man. It was definitely disheartening, to say the least, to hear about it. But it is also one of those things that I feel that people who are following the sport should know about. So that being said, we got an interview yesterday. Diego Lopez says that he gave 100% of what he had in that rematch with Volkanovski, and it showed to him that his time at featherweight is done. He gave the best of what he had, and he could not beat the champions. So that means to him, it's time to move up to lightweight. He says he's not a big guy, but it has been getting more difficult for him to make the weight cut down to 145 to compete. He also spends a lot more time coaching than competing most of these days. So going from not necessarily being in camp to having to make a hard weight cut down to 45 is starting to take his toll on him. And as he's getting more experienced as a fighter, he would much rather keep his body in better shape and cut less weight to do so. And as a great example of why he wants to do that, he literally pointed directly to Brian Ortega, who has been saying for almost a year now, the cut to 145 is too tough on him at this point. He wants to move up to 55, but the UFC keeps booking him in 45-pound fights. So he suggested, why not do one that everyone will like, where everyone wins regardless, and just book him versus Brian Ortega at 155 pounds. It's a good fight stylistically. Both guys are wanting to move up from 45 to 55. It doesn't impact the already established rankings right now, but shows you where either gentleman should be once this fight plays out. I don't understand how it's a bad idea, which is probably why the UFC will never make it happen.
Yep. File that under, oh, it makes sense. Not going to happen.
Exactly. You know, as we say all the time, you cannot apply logic to UFC situation, unfortunately. But that fight, in my opinion, would be fucking spectacular. Stylistically, it's a beautiful fucking matchup. It's a pair of dudes who neither one are huge, but are both clearly talking about having a hard time still making the cut down to 45. So let them stop making the cut and fight each other, for fuck's sake. It's a win-win all the way around, which is exactly why they probably will never let it happen, unfortunately.
What does Lopez usually walk around at?
He's not very open about it, but he says that he's under 200 pounds, which leads me to believe it's probably like 194-ish. A lot of the lightweights, to be fair, generally walk around about 180, 190 pounds and then cut down to 55 during the course of fight week or throughout their camp. Not an unrealistic competition cut, weight cut. Making 185, 195, even potentially down to 45 in a week or so, I can absolutely see how that would take a serious toll on your body, especially when you're fighting at championship level. You don't get that extra little bit. You got to be 145 on the fucking dot, whereas guys not fighting for a belt in the same weight class get a whole pound allowance and can be up to 146. When you're cutting that much percentage of your body weight, that's a big fucking factor. So I can absolutely see why both of these dudes are like, yo, I'm not huge, but this cut sucks. There's plenty of room in the next fucking weight class up. Why don't we do the thing? And then everybody can be happy. So hopefully Sean Shelby and Hunter Campbell were fucking listening when he said that, and we can see something, but we will definitely keep our eyes out for potential follow-up on that. Seems to be the theme of the day for today's news, and I didn't do that intentionally, but we got a big fucking head scratcher over the course of this weekend. The UFC, in announcing some upcoming fights for the next couple of weeks, started talking about the UFC Winnipeg card that's coming up, and they announced one that everyone, including the people involved, went, wait, what? They announced that on that UFC Winnipeg card was going to be a fight with Gavin Tucker. If you're not sure why that's odd, it would be because almost a year ago, the UFC released Gavin Tucker from his contract, and about 6 weeks after that, Gavin Tucker retired from combat sports. When he was tagged in multiple posts over the weekend talking about him having a fight booked for the UFC Winnipeg card, even he came out and said, guys, I think you've made a mistake. Not only am I not in the UFC anymore, I've retired from combat sports. So someone made a mistake here, to which the UFC immediately deleted the original post announcing that fight. And we have now confirmed, no, he is not coming out of retirement. Yes, that was actually a fuck up on the UFC's part. Gavin Tucker is very happy in retirement, and we are glad that he is so.
I think the craziest part of that story is the UFC being the UFC didn't lean into it and go, oh, yes, he is.
Right? Double
And
down
then-
and be like, oh, he's still under contract. Or
And
whatever.
then dump a dump truckload of money at his feet to go, yeah, see, we can't be wrong here, so we need you to play
Right.
along.
Hit him with the old Jeremy Stevens routine.
Yep.
So couple of fucking weird ones back and forth across the pond here for the last ones. The first one, and one that I feel is genuinely worth talking about here. As of Monday of this week, One, Adriano Moraes has officially entered free agency. For those of you who aren't aware, Adriano Moraes is the gentleman who gave one hell of a pair of outings back and forth with one Demetrius Johnson finishing him by fucking knee and then subsequently getting finished by the identical fucking move from Demetrius Johnson and then having still after that a hell of a fucking run over in one championship. Adriano did an interview this week when he confirmed that he has officially entered free agency. And he said at this point in life, he feels the only thing he has left that he wants to do in his career that he hasn't is make a run in the UFC. And at this point, realistically, his resume should absolutely get him a key in the door. I'm not saying he's getting a title shot. I'm not saying he should be walked into a fucking belt. What I'm saying is if they are fucking smart, they will take an already established huge name like that who is willing to walk away from one championship and the giant following that they have helped him build and bring it to the UFC and then let him find out where he stacks up. They did it with Patchy Mix. They're doing it with MVP. They're doing it with several other fighters from other organizations who don't have neither the credibility or the fucking resume that Adriano Moraes brings with him. The fact that Kyoji Horiguchi is back in the UFC right now leads me to believe there's at least some minute level of a chance that this could happen because I'm telling you right now, that man will make the fucking bantamweight division very interesting very quickly if we get him under a UFC contract. It will not take long for the American fan base to understand that one championship does absolutely have some qualified fucking competitors over there. Look at RDR if you think I'm full of shit. Now, I suppose it is the proverbial opposite side of that coin. We also got word this week that knowingly and willingly, former professional wrestler turned MMA fighter turned failed bare knuckle fighter, Jake Hager, formerly Jack Swagger, has officially signed with Power Slap. He said he understands exactly what he is signing up for. He is going to try to slap someone who also wants to slap him, and said at this point in his combat sports career, which I thought was a bold statement, this is one of the few things he is left on his bucket list. So, from what I'm gathering of this interview, they have brought him in as the male version of Paige Van Zandt.
And that can go under my category of nobody gives a shit because it's Power Slap.
Yeah, no, it is absolutely not a thing that I talked about because I thought that people should get excited about it, but it is one of those weird things that for some strange reason, not a lot of MMA sports outlets have been covering this week. So I thought that I would make a point to mention it here. That being said, last one I've got here, at this point in the game, they are nothing if not productive in the front office of the UFC these days. Having both literally just competed last weekend, we have already today on Thursday got confirmation that both Jose Medina and Felipe Boons that just competed on UFC Mexico have both been released from their UFC contracts and not offered renewal opportunities. Now, I will say, Jose Medina was 0-4 in the UFC. We talked about it before. It was kind of strange that they had kept him around so long to begin with. Excuse me. So to hear that the UFC let him go after another fucking uneventful production attempt from him isn't that surprising. Felipe Boons is a little more so because he didn't have the best record, but he was also a younger prospect with more to potentially learn and grow with. But the UFC apparently was done with him as well. So literally days after competing and losing, two UFC fighters nixed from the roster already. So UFC apparently is trying to keep some things moving during the Paramount era, and some things are apparently getting left by the wayside. So we will see how that continues to go forward as we make it through the first quarter of the year in UFC terms. That being said, though, that is what I have got for news this week. Any of you gentlemen have anything I might have missed?
What are your current thoughts on Tommy Aspinall signing new management in Eddie Hearn, someone who is known to be on Dana White's shit list? I think that's kind of a good fucking power move considering, Dana White has allegedly talked some shit about Tom Aspinall, so.
So I will say this, and all these guys will verify this. I try and make a point not to talk about rumors on the show here, unless we can confirm something with a credible, verified source. I generally try not to put too much emphasis or talk about it on the show here. That being said, there have been rumors swirling for about 3 weeks now that John Jones's whole quote unquote leaked Meta glasses conversation about his arthritic hip and potentially having to retire whether he wants to or not was an intentional leak, because Dana White confirmed last week that Conor McGregor is in talks for a comeback, but it will not be on this UFC White House card. And then gave an interview privately that said, yes, he is in conversations right now to potentially have a John Jones fight on that White House card without mentioning who his opponent would be. And then Alex Pereira relinquishes the light heavyweight belt, which we now know will be fought for by Yuri and the Panther, which frees up Alex Pereira again. If there is any credibility to that, I can absolutely understand why Tom Aspinall would want to put someone like Eddie Hearn in his corner to keep Dana White from just fucking him like he's done everyone else. Dana clearly is not going to give Tom Aspinall the same 5 years of grace that he gave John Jones when he was playing his duck duck goose bullshit game. He's obviously in a hurry to try and turn this over. So in that side of things, I absolutely think that was a brilliant fucking move, because Eddie Hearn will not roll over for Dana White privately or publicly. Having that dude in your corner to keep him from getting his belt fucked away from him, I think was very intelligent. On the other side of that coin, that's one of those Francis Ngannou level moves. And what I mean by that is when Francis Ngannou got big, he did do a lot for other fighters, but he did a lot for Francis Ngannou first. This could potentially help a lot of other fighters down the road. But at the same time, do you really think Eddie Hearn is going to sign a Dana White Contender Series fighter who's working on a 10-10 contract and promise that he's going to get him, $250,000 every fight? Because, yeah, Eddie's good, but there's just some things that can't be done. And while this is going to be good for Tom, it might only be good for Tom right now.
I don't know. And that's purely what I'm looking at it as, is what's good right now for Tom. And to be honest,
in that case,
I see what's good for the heavyweight division. You're keeping the guy who got an illegal eye poke in both eyes, required surgery.
Multiple surgeries now.
Yeah, multiple, excuse me. I think it's a fucking brilliant move. I'm not worried. Look, as much as I don't like the way that the UFC is predatory in the way that it pays its fighters.
Right.
I'm also very happy to see when just a single fighter makes that move to say, yeah, nah, fuck you, you're not gonna fuck me.
Right.
Especially when it is a current heavyweight champion who,
somebody
in all
relevant,
honesty, should have that fight should have been stopped, done with way sooner than what it was. Instead, we got multiple eye pokes, and that's what led to the fucking big ass surgery. When you're double knuckled deep in both eyes, I'm just saying.
Yeah,
I
agree.
It's a good kick in the teeth to the UFC right now with him picking up as Eddie Hearn.
It's definitely Tommy letting the UFC know that he's not just going to roll over and let them do what they want.
To be fair, I also think Eddie Hearn had a little bit to do with this as well.
That
because he did get one of his boxers taken from him and signed with Zuffa.
Right. When Conor Benn got signed and then Tommy Aspinall turned around and signed with Eddie, I think there was absolutely a little bit of correlation.
There was a little tit for tat there.
We'll get you back, Dana.
We're going to get you back, but we're going to get you back in a way that's really going to hurt you, and that's by taking your champ.
Yeah, I agree. There was definitely a little bit of that for sure. So yeah, that's definitely going to be an interesting story to keep an eye on going forward. Absolutely agree. So, that being said, if you are new to the show, first and foremost, welcome. Enjoy yourselves. This is only going to get crazier from here, I promise. If you've been watching for a while, you would know that even though we have a fan favorite segment that we love to do, just by natural law of progression, if you're casual hanging around us for so long, eventually it's going to start to soak in. And well, we had to graduate our favorite casual. But the good thing about graduating our favorite casual is that now we get to put his ass on the spot like we go, and he gets to have his very own segment here. And since he is literally evolving like a Pokemon from casual into hardcore rabid lunatic like we are, he is learning all these new moves. The fun part about him learning all these moves is that, like any good learner, he's asking questions. And when he asks questions, he learns about all the crazy shit that we watch every weekend, how it works and why it works, in a little segment that we like to call The Next Move.
I appreciate you there, brother man. This week, last week it was a little bit of an introduction, the double punch, a little bit of haha funny. Uh, this week I'd like to talk about an actual staple of just combat in general. It would be the whizzer or the overhook. It's a great defensive move. It really is. It's used especially to defend against, takedowns or to control your opponent itself. Uh, it's really used for to disrupt the balance of your opponent, and it can prevent ground and pound. You can gain position and up to submission, depending on you know where you're at. Your position yourself. It can lead to scrambles, which can be detrimental to the whole fight if you can't get away from the guy and he's beating the shit out of you. I mean, there's only so much you can do. It can be it can be used to control the clinch and prevent ground and pound. It can be used for sweeps. Uh, you can throw the guy if you got the right angle. Now, not to say that the other guy can't do the same thing to you, because while you've got this guy hooked, his arm's in the same position your arm's in. So if he plants himself center masses and all of a sudden you're off balance, all of a sudden you're open for things like a Darce or an Anaconda or a guillotine if you're standing the wrong fucking way. But you've also got that for him. But one of the big things is if you go to perform this overhook or wizard, whatever you want to call it, and you fuck up, your back is wide open. I'm not a UFC fighter. I've never been a jujitsu, practitioner, anything like that. But if I'm fighting you and you give me your back, I'm grabbing your neck. And it's pretty much lights out from there. But the wizard itself, while it doesn't look like much, can win you a fight. Because if you can't throw your opponent off, you can't throw their balance, their timing, their rhythm, anything off, then you have no defense. And that, gentlemen, is my presentation, Wizard.
Very good, sir. Um, I was I actually had somebody ask me about the wizard last week. The way that I like to describe it to people, if you've ever played video games, you are familiar. There is a point in almost every fighting game that has ever been made where you and your opponent, ka-ching, you meet head to head or sword to sword or whatever it is, and there's a back and forth battle, and you got to fucking button mash like your fucking life depends on it. And whoever gets the best of that button mash wins the exchange. That's the wizard in MMA because it gives both fighters an equal opportunity depending on how you turn, depending on how you move, depending on where you take the fight. Once the wizard is engaged, that's as close as you're going to get in real life to seeing two people link up and have to fucking button mash to see where that fight goes.
That's what I was gonna say. You have to be from all the video, all the stuff that I've watched. You have to be confident in what you're getting ready to do next, because if you make a misstep, all it takes is one, 6-inch step this way, and all of a sudden this guy's throwing you on the ground.
Yep. Or you lean too far in, or you lean in too early and they let you. So now you're off balance and they've got control. You're likely going for a ride or getting fucking landed on.
Yeah, and that's that same reason why you always hear fucking Joe Rogan say, "This is high level chess with dire physical consequences."
Yep.
Because you make the wrong move and you're not thinking 6 steps ahead while you've got that wizard, there are
You're in
dire
trouble.
physical consequences that can come with that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well discussed, sir. Well covered. Much appreciated. So that will bring us to the point where if you've been watching combat sports as long as some of us have been watching combat sports, you start to learn what you like to watch and when it comes on and how you're going to watch it. And you start to develop a set of metaphorical blinders, if you will. You start to lose the forest for the trees. Luckily for us here on the show, we've got ourselves a young person out there diligently and delicately fingering the pulse of the MMA world to help keep us abreast of all the names that are going to be big names before they are big names in a little segment that we call Slows, Cans, and Contenders.
Appreciate you, brother. Let's run through this pretty quick. I know we still got a good bit of shit to get through here. We got some pit action tonight, with it being a numbered event. It's been a while, too, so let me not take too long. Get your boys' thoughts on this, too. But we got some shit on this for sure. Let's throw them out there. Bellotto, the way that motherfucker's looked in his last few fights, the pretty much act job against the Paul Craig, whenever that up kick happened. Dude's just looked like shit in general in his last few fights. Threw him in the trash. You got the younger kids here, Ricky Tercios and Raul Rosas Jr. I mean, Rosas decent with the jujitsu, in all honesty, but the kid has shown he can't really fight worth a damn, and that loss to Christian Rodriguez was also a big tell. I think he's going to get exposed big. I can't wait for it. I've been talking about it all fucking week. You could ask Vinny, man. And he was just talking about it the other day. Oh man, I can't wait for Rob to beat this motherfucker's ass. And we've seen him on Embedded, I think, this morning. I was like, oh, he's going to fuck the kid's face up even more. Kid's face already looks like he's fucking, caveman, monkey man, something. He looks fucked up. It's disfigured for sure. It's going to get even more disfigured once Rob gets done with him.
TriStar, baby.
And then you got the trio of Codys. You throw in the whole trio of Codys in the garbage, man. Mr. Brundage, Durden, and Garbrandt. There's no love for any of those bastards. And just throw that one out there to you. Keep on making some puns here. In all honesty, all three of them might get knocked out. Cody Durden's the only one that's genuinely, like, we can call him the gatekeeper almost of flyweight. He's been decent. He's always been back and forth. He's kind of get or get got, but at the same time, big fights come up, he's always lost them. So, I mean, Cody is just, another one to throw in the trash. And it was just great, easy way to do that. Those three, throw them in there. And then on the fence stuff, we got the second coming of RoboCop and Ferreira here. It's a weird ass matchup. Both of them are good fighters, got some knockout power. It was a fun fucking one the first time around. RoboCop got clipped, so I guess it could be fun if RoboCop gets the win. But you got it on the fence. It's a weird matchup. Could be good, but also don't know. Don't want to see RoboCop take another loss either. So it's fun to see RoboCop fight. You got the Dober Johnson fight. on the fence here. Are we even going to get it? There was some funny business in Michael Johnson's last fight. Nothing on him. Love Michael Johnson. Dude's from St. Louis. Root for him. But he's another middle of the pack guy. Drew Dober's always been kind of a journeyman fighter, too. But they're both get or get got. They at least go out on their shield. They're knocking guys out or getting knocked out. So it might be a fun fight, right? So I got it on the fence here. And the co-main event, big time with this one. Like, he's almost leaning to the trash with Cal versus RDR. I like Rainier. Cal has proved he's not worth shit. I already kind of felt that way with his climb up, and just because of the grappling aspect and not a lot of working towards submissions and shit. Or what the brother Justin was just talking about, not using the true aspects of grappling that you've learned, like a wizard or something, to gain dominant positions, to do anything other than lay on somebody. We're sick and tired of seeing that. That was a good breakdown Justin gave. Motherfuckers need to listen to something like that every now and again and actually use those techniques that they're supposed to be learning instead of just lay on a guy, especially when you're supposed to have some fucking physical shape and cardio. So why do you always need to lay on a guy after 2 minutes of no fighting? Already tired? What's going on here? Lay off the donuts. We joining the police force? I don't know. Joining ICE? The fuck's going on? Uh, I'm not looking forward to that one because I do feel like most likely we're getting 15 minutes and 185 pounders laying on each other. But Rainier's the shining light. Maybe he gets the bounce back here and makes it an interesting one. But we'll see. It's kind of on the fence, leaning towards the shitter. The good stuff here, I like RoboCop. I threw that fight on the fence, but RoboCop, dude's fun. Do I think he's ever going to be top 15 working his way up? No, I mean, he's already got that shot. We've been there, done that. But he's one of those fun guys. Multiple fun names, too. Buff Obama, RoboCop. It's good shit. He's one of those guys going to go out on his fucking shield. Middleweight is one of those weight classes where you normally would expect that, like slug fights, knockouts. We're losing that a lot of middleweight, light heavyweight, and heavyweight. He's just one of those dudes. I think another one of those dudes. He's a little bit on the younger side. Dante Johnson. Where do I got him on my notes? Who's he fighting? Oh yeah, he's fighting Brundage's bitch ass. Yeah, I think that's gonna be one of those knockouts. Dante Johnson got some good knockout potential here. 6 of his 7 fucking wins have come by knockout. He's finished every single one so far. It's one of those kids with some potential. 27 years old here, so we're looking forward to seeing how he does. And they're throwing him the easy one there. Now you got another guy. See how he does. Undefeated. Some knockout potential. Luke Fernandez. He's the one fighting Bellato's bitch ass. So hopefully we get some light heavyweight action with Fernandez. I had to pick a few of these guys out, right? Because this is like a lot of cards we've had this year, obligations, right? Guys that are just cracking into the UFC, or guys that are getting a fight that is destined or determined, right? Rafael Tobias is another name we haven't heard of necessarily yet. 14 and fucking 1, 22 years old, making his UFC debut here. His only loss comes by knockout. And the kid's got 11 finishes of the 14 wins there. So being as young as he is, having all the finishing potential and shit, we'll see how he does. A heavyweight fight? Yeah, I think so. We could enjoy that too. If it's not a grapply kind of match there, and we get a 22-year-old fucking heavyweight, I could enjoy that. So yeah, I had to throw that in there. And then the obvious shit to finish this up. I'll let you boys give your little thoughts real quick to wrap her up. Uh, what the fuck else are we here for, gentlemen? Other than Charlie Olives versus Blessed himself. The fuck are we doing? There's nothing else to fucking talk about. That's it. That's a golden moment. It's fuck the bad motherfucker shit. It was cool when they first brought that out. It's been funny and more of a meme that they've continued it going like it's a real championship. It's whatever. Fucking we've always probably like us hardcore fans have always looked at them as the greatest fighters that we got. Bad motherfuckers. Nobody that's a normal dude that isn't well trained would fuck with them. Like in the world, probably 7 foot, 300 pound dude wouldn't fuck with Charles Oliveira or Max Holloway on most good days. Let's just be honest. So they're bad motherfuckers. They don't need no stupid title to prove that. But this is a fight we got the one time and it ended really weird. It wasn't necessarily like a true finish that Max got. It was a weird situation, kind of like throat punched Charles is what it seemed like, and then Charles is just like, fuck, and he just kind of like falls over. He just can't fight anymore. So then you get the TKO. I'd like to see them really both go at it, and it's been years and years. So they're both different fighters. I'm excited as hell for that one. What do you boys got to say?
I'll say this is much better than the last two sets of cards as far as fights to look at. I'll call them eye candy fights. There are still quite a few on here that are absolute dumpster fires. I like the three-piece Cody all on the prelims, bunch of dumpster fires that they are. To be honest, I wouldn't have mind seeing all three of those Codys on the early prelims. So they kind of fucked that one up. So that really throws that in there. Another guy I cannot figure out why he's still in the UFC, Ricky Tercios. After coming off of the Ultimate Fighter, he has done nothing but shit the fucking bed. It there's I mean, when you get beat by fucking cast iron pan face himself in Raul Rosas, you don't deserve to be in the UFC anymore. God, Rob Font, don't make me eat those fucking words because I don't want to say that about you. Um, Now I do want to say I don't have this fight on the fence. I'm just mad it took that long to get it together, and that is the Drew Dober and Michael Johnson. 'Cause that's a fantastic fight to me. Is it a little later than it should have happened? Fuck yes. Are we worried about the possibility of something crazy happening with Michael Johnson? Of course. But, I mean, to be fair, we're only 2 nights away from it. So we'll find out tomorrow whether or not that's actually going to take place, depending on how the weigh-in situation goes. Um, I'll, again, I'll gladly ride the coattails on the RoboCop Buff Obama. That dude at this point is a hardcore fan favorite. And I say a hardcore fan favorite because I know there are still a lot of casuals out there who do not know who he is, and that's perfectly all right. That just means you're missing out on a gold mine. That dude goes to war every fucking time and will not give up on himself. Uh, the entirety of the premier prelims, those are obvious. Hey, we need to offer you a fight and get you on a card. Let's get you on a numbered card on the early prelims. That's the obligatory fights that I see there. I mean, Simidarji hasn't really come to the fruition that they expected when they signed him so many years ago at this point. As he came in with a lot of hype behind him and just kind of has become mediocrity at its best. Wins two, loses three, wins two, loses one, wins two, wins one, loses one. It's just a back and forth. So he's not going to be any sort of rule breaker. Jesus Aguilar coming in on, he's kind of in that same category. Middle of the pack fighter, been around for a couple of years now. Gets a win, takes a loss, gets a couple wins, takes a loss. It's just can't string them together. And when you can't string them together, especially in division like flyweight, you're not going to get anywhere. Because Flyweight at the top of the pack is a little rough to get into. And now there is a thing here that irritates me on this card. And it is the Max Holloway and Charles Oliveira fight. Not because of the fight itself. I'm very excited about that, but because of the way that the UFC has it on their website. If you go into their website, oh, this still angers me. It lists Max Holloway as the champ. No, he is a former champ. BMF title holder is not a champ. That shouldn't be listed like that. And then across, they're still using Charlie Olive's ranking. I'm perfectly all right. You could have just put rank in their rank versus rank. And then maybe in a small little set of quotes, BMF title holder. But don't mark it as champ. I love Max Holloway. I'm not throwing shit at him. This is strictly at the UFC. I want to make that very clear. Love Charlie Olives. Sad that we have to watch them, and I can't root against either one of them. There's nobody for me to hate in this situation. There's one thing for me to hate, and that is the fact that I know I saw a video of Charlie Olives practicing the point down. That is a terrible fucking idea. I said it last week. I will say it again now. The co-main event is a waste of my fucking time. This one can go in the trash. One, Renner de Ritter got fucking exposed in his last fight out against Allen. Yes, he is great when he gets somebody to the ground and can grapple. And yes, if he knows he's got a young up-and-coming fighter, of course he's going to beat them because he's been around the block a lot longer. Rahalio, he's been exposed as well. Also, he is nothing but a decision machine. I think he has one finish in the UFC. The rest of his fights have all been decisions. He is not the exciting fighter that he makes himself out to be. This fight, to me, is useless. While I understand where it falls in there, and both guys are ranked inside of the top 10, if I remember correctly. So it makes sense as far as the middleweight division is concerned. But it seems like a waste of time. Because anybody who watched Brendan de Ritter's last outing got the cheat code on how to beat him. Bahalio has been exposed, so we know the cheat code to beat him as well. As a whole, the fight makes sense purely as who gets to stay in the top 10 and who's got to go. I don't think we're going to see either one of them ever become champ in the middleweight division. I'll say that right now. Renner de Ritter looked like he had a chance, but we found out his armor has a giant flaw in it, and it's his fucking gas tank. So, Bahalio can put the fucking gas on him over the course of 2 rounds and manage to stay off of the mat. He's going to win this fight by decision. He's not going to be able to get the KO finish that we saw Renner getting finished with previously because he was fucking tired, not because he was hurt. Renner has no heart. Can't push through the fucking exhaustion. If you're a fighter, you've got to be able to push through the exhaustion. That's why you train so fucking hard, to make the fight easier. I don't even want to talk about what would be considered the people's co-main event other than who doesn't like Rob Font? That's good enough for me. The rest of the card, it's a toss-up. There's not absolutely terrible, but there are some terrible fighters on here. That's where I'm going to leave it for now.
So I think you guys have pretty much nailed down the theme of this card for me. I will say, with it being a numbered card, the fights overall are a little better than the fight night cards that we've been given recently. But it very much feels like the theme of UFC 326 is fights that aren't the most exciting, but they kind of make sense. Like every fight on this card, on paper at least, you can kind of squint your eyes at and be like, well, yeah, no, I guess that would work. But in reality, not only has the UFC completely gone away from what they've done all year long in keeping locals represented on a card, because there's plenty of fighters that live in Vegas now that could have been on this card and would have potentially made it better, in my opinion. But we didn't get that. Now, it's not completely stacked with contractual obligations, but there are more. How do I put this nicely? There are more uninteresting fights on this numbered card than there were on the previous fight night card. That shouldn't be the case. I don't give a shit if we're not paying $100 for a fucking pay-per-view every month or not. We shouldn't have to deal with the quote unquote highlight of the month, the numbered card, being as weak as the fight night card that gets put on from the Apex. There's some good fights on this card. I will say this. The main card as a whole, one of the better main cards that we have seen this year overall. Fuck Raul Rosas Jr. Main card as a whole, though, not too fucking shabby. Prelims get a little bit dicey, and the early prelims are just like, oof. That's a lot of contractual obligations. So I will say there's plenty of good fights on here, but not the strongest card of the year so far. I'll put it that way.
Appreciate you, boys. You definitely weren't wrong there. Even if we're not fucking paying that money, it's definitely questionable. And you know they're just saving a lot of it though for this stupid White House event. He's got to suck Uncle Donnie's, you know what, a little. Uh, I still, once we heard that that was going to be a thing, it was just like, God damn it, it's going to fuck the whole year up. It's been right so far. We haven't really had but one championship fight, true championship fight. And this is a third number event. Still going to be that way. We used to get two per numbered event, right? Appreciate you, boys.
Thank you very much, sir. Always appreciated. That being said, that will bring us to the only segment of the show that does require its own individual disclaimer. So, if you will, Tapology.com in no way, shape, or form supports, sponsors, or endorses the I'm No Joe podcast yet. That being said, Tapology does give you the option to go onto their website, make a free account, and make fantasy style MMA picks like we do here on the show. They even let you make groups on there. So we made one. It's called I'm No Bookie, all one word, or group 965, however you need to find it. The group is open to the public. You are welcome and encouraged. Make yourself an account. Let us know who the fuck you are, and we will hold your picks accountable with ours in a segment that we like to call Tapology with TJ.
All right. Let me just make this clear one time at the beginning. I know all of you guys are cheap. If you weren't cheap, I'd be getting a paycheck because you'd be members of the Patreon. Patreon is down below. Tapology is absolutely free. By all means, please come join us. Let us know who you are so we can pat you on the back when you do well and tell you when you've tripped over your dick in other areas. Now, this week, I'm going to say this. It's hard to say anybody tripped over their dick in our group because nobody did. It was top tier picks all the way across the board. The lowest amount of correct picks in our group was 9 of 13. That is way north of 50%. The vast majority of our group was 10 picks or better. There was one sole person in our group, Donna, who managed to pull 11 of 13 correct. I don't know how she makes picks, but goddamn it, there's got to be some sort of witchcraft going on. That's all I can say, because she goes on some ridiculous ass hot streaks, and when that happens, ain't nobody catching her. Now, I'll say loosely tripping over your dick, which I can't even say. There may or may not have been a fight for that with all 9 of 13 correct. Don, Vinny, and Christian, all 9 of 13 correct. However, Don gets the Shit Your Bed award this week just because he could not buy a perfect or a semi-perfect to save his fucking life this week. Nah, he got 1 decision correct and 1 semi-perfect. He couldn't buy one this week. To be fair, that's still 9 of 13 correct picks on who's winning the fight. Can't be mad at that. So I really can't say anybody tripped over their dick this week because it was absolutely brilliant across the board. Chef's kiss, just well done, group. Keep up that fucking numbers. We like to see it. Also, that kind of tells you we kind of know what we're talking about over here and when we have thoughts on these things. So, with that, because we are into week 2 of the Grand Prix, we'll go ahead and run down this Grand Prix standings here. Donna, of course, fucking running her out with fucking 19 to 27 correct so far and 1,270 points, is in the top spot. Not far behind, even though he had a rough week this week, is Christian, sitting at 19 of 27 with 1,230 points. Myself, I had a rough week last week, did well this week, sitting at 18 of 27 with 1,205 points. So not far off the lead, not far off a second. Don, even with his really bad week this week, sitting at 18 of 40 with 1,180 points in the 4th spot. Meter, 17 of 27, 1,105 points. Vin Dog, he's roughing it at the back there at 1,080 points, 18 of 27. However, this is only 2 in. There are still 6 upcoming cards that are going towards this Grand Prix, so it is still anybody's race. And we'll fill you in next week on how that ends up panning out. So now to jump over to this weekend and giving you guys some odds to look at. This is the March 8th card. I am going to go this week, and we're going to use Caesars this week. For some odd reason, the site that I use does not have BetMGMs this week. Well, they have a few, but not all of them, and I don't know why. As a whole, this week, it is a lot of coin flips. I'm going to hit a couple of the little wider than coin flips, and there is one fairly wide odds on the card that we'll mention here as well. Start with here, Sumidarje and Jesus Aguilar. Not super wide odds, but they're getting there. Sumidarje coming in as a minus 240 favorite. Jesus Aguilar, a plus 200 underdog. Like I said, not a huge wide gap, but it's a little bit there. Jong Yong Lee and Gaston Balones. Gaston coming in as a plus 280 underdog. Lee coming in as a minus 360 favorite. So a little bit wider, but not anything crazy that we haven't seen before. We're going to hit one other one here that is 2 of them actually that are slightly wide. Actually, no, I'm going to save one of those because it's coming event. Another slightly wide one, and that is the Raul Rojas and Rob Font. For some odd reason, you have a ranked guy in Rob Font who is a plus 200 underdog to Raul Rosas Jr., being the minus 240 favorite. Now, those odds have tightened up a little bit. So apparently bets are coming in for Rob Font as they should be. So bet on Rob Font. That's all I'm saying. Don't bet against him. Now, for the widest odds on the card. God, I hate to say this. But they include one of the Codys. But just in the way you would fucking expect. Cody Brundage, Dante Johnson. Cody Brundage, a plus 600 underdog. Dante Johnson, a minus 900 favorite. Like I said, just like you expect, the downside is this has to involve a Cody in some way, shape, or fashion. But it is in the way you would expect. Now, just as per usual, the co-main and the main. Co-main, Renner de Ritter, the gas tankless one himself, and Bahalio. Bahalio sitting as a minus 240 favorite. De Ritter a plus 200 underdog. To be honest, those odds make sense to me. I'd like to say it should be closer because both of them are nothing to write home about, in my opinion. But, that is what it is. Now, for the main event, for the BMF title, Charles Dubronx Oliveira and Max Blast Holloway. Max coming in at a minus 225 favorite over a plus 185 underdog in Charles Oliveira. Not a super wide odds. And to be fair, with where both of these guys are in their career right now, if there wasn't a such thing as that 10-second point down, I'd say it could be a coin flip either way. But with that 10-second point down, that is inevitably going to happen. The nod of my hat has to go to fucking Holloway. Not to mention, Holloway's boxing is phenomenal. However, Dude Bronx has been known to fucking really surprise people, so we could see something really fucking wild here. Hopefully, being as it is a BMF title, as much as Du Bronx is very inclined to going for submissions, I hope that's not the way this goes, because, I'll say it. If we're going to legitimize the BMF title, it should basically be a fucking kickboxing match with as little grappling as possible. Albeit, I get it, this is MMA, so grappling is a thing. And to be honest, I love grappling in MMA. But in a case like this, looking for bad motherfuckers swing. They swing and bang. That's how that works. But that's what we got this week for it. On that note, fucking done. Do your jobs. Join the Tapology group. Let us know who you are. Or don't. If I notice who you are, though, I will call you out and call you a shitbag even harder even if you win. So change your fucking name if you don't want me to know who you are.
Thank you very much, sir. Always appreciate that. So, I will say, if you are a new fan, this might be a little bit confusing because you haven't gotten to see this yet in 2026. But if you've been a fan of the show for any period of time, you'll know when that GIF rolls across the screen that this is the point in the show where we stop being so haha, we stop being so friendly, and we turn this into a little bit of a competition. This is the point in the show that we like to refer to as the pit. This is when we turn our friendly little MMA show into a bit of a competition here. We're keeping it lighthearted, we're keeping it fun, but goddamn it, namesakes are on the line. So, gentlemen, are you two ready for the first pit of 2026?
Ready as I'm going to be.
Good shit. So, that being said, since it is the first pit of 2026, we will let the kid make the first choice here. Christian, would you like to go first or would you like to go second for this event?
I'll start it off.
That's what I like to hear. Taking charge, grabbing the reins. So, that being said, we are going to kick things off the way that we like to around here. If you are sitting at a party and you have got people who have never seen MMA around you before, there is inevitably one fight on this card that you are going to do your damnedest to make sure everybody within earshot is paying attention and keeps an eye on. We like to refer to it as the kind of fight for this card. Of all of the ridiculousness we have on this UFC 326 card, Christian, which one are you making sure everyone around is paying attention to?
Well, you'd like to say the very last one, but that'll take a while to get to. So you got to tell him be patient for a little bit because you got to get through a few of the rough ones to get to this golden moment. Drew Dober versus Michael Johnson is that quintessential fight on this fucking card. There's no way in hell, in my opinion, that this fight disappoints. It's either going to be that bar brawl for 15 minutes or one of them's getting put to sleep at some point in this fucking fight. Neither one of them are going to just stand back and dance around and try to fucking pussyfoot with each other. Both of them are the same guy. They're going to charge forward. They're going to make it a fight. It's going to be a good time. If people haven't seen it before, any of those things, right? You got to sit your ass down and watch this one. This will be one of those to hook you the fuck in. Just like, us winning the gold medal in the Olympics in hockey hooked me in as a hockey fan. I can't stop watching this shit now. It's great. Well, it's also partially I don't have football, but it's good stuff.
Definitely understandable. Definitely understandable. So that'll bring us back across the octagon, as it were, here over to you. So, Golf T, if you are sitting around with a room full of people and this card comes on this weekend, which fight are you making sure everyone around you is paying attention to?
Well, I agree. You have to wait till the main card starts to get somebody to pay attention here. I think you start with the first fight, not because of who that is on the main card or who his opponent is, but you make them tune in to watch RoboCop. RoboCop is one exciting middleweight. He will look like RoboCop by the end of it. It's either going to be the beginning of the movie or the end. Either way, he's either going to get his ass kicked in or he's going to come out swinging and banging and somebody's going to be a hurting unit. He's going to look a little busted up by the end of the fight. It's going to be exciting every time RoboCop gets in there. Not to mention, you can tell him they met Buff Obama.
I absolutely agree. When it comes to that fight, dead or alive, you're becoming a fan. So, yeah, there's no such thing as a bad RoboCop fight. Win, lose, or draw, that dude is always fucking good times to watch. So, definitely understandable there. So that'll bring us to round two. Flip that coin, as it were. Uh, Golf T, we start out with you this time around. So if if every event has one fight that you have to make sure everyone is paying attention to, that inevitably means that there is also probably going to be at least one fight that you can use as your excuse to take the dog out, get up and get a cold one, whatever you happen to be doing while you have no interest in the fight at hand here. Which fight are you using for a piss break Saturday?
Without a shadow of a doubt, I'm going to avoid the low-hanging fruit that I really want to talk about, but I'm going to avoid it. When it comes time for that piss break, we're in the middle of the prelims. Ricky Tercios, Alberto Montes. Ricky Tercios is nothing but an eyesore on the UFC, and I have no need or want to even bother watching him. It's a good time to go take a piss break. Go fucking punch the clown. Fucking go beat your wife. Something. Well, don't beat your wife, but what I'm saying is there's much better things to do with your fucking time than watch the Ricky Tercios and Alberto Montes fight. It's just not it. And that is also definitely not the one you want to show your friends to get them interested in fighting.
Yeah, I can absolutely agree with that. How this fight managed to get onto a numbered card to begin with is a classic example of the UFC deciding to UFC. So I definitely understand that. Throwing it back across the octagon, as it were, here. That brings us to you, Christian. If there is one fight that you got to make sure everybody watches, that also means that there is one fight that you can use to get up and get that jar out of the fridge or burn off a nice fat hot boy and get yourself back into fighting mood. Which matchup on Saturday are you using as the leg stretcher?
Another one of those prelim fights for me. Gian Young Lee versus Gaston Bolaños. Both of them are just middle of the pack fighters. I don't think that it's going to be the most entertaining. Probably one of those you could just pass by for sure. I would have said any of those fights with the Codys in them, but you might see some of those Codys get put to sleep, so you may not want to step away for those. But yeah, I think Young Lee versus Bolaños is another one of those fights. Probably nothing too much to be excited for in this one. Go ahead and take you a break on this one.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that as well. Personally, I would have called out for the curtain jerker. Fernandez versus Bellato, like TJ mentioned earlier, after that bullshit that we saw in that previous fucking fight, I have zero interest in seeing Adolfo Bellato at all anymore. But I absolutely agree with both of those picks. You both make a very good point here. That being said, that'll bring us to round 3 here. Back over to you, Christian. So, Christian, we have got a very interesting co-main event here. Both Kyle Baralho and Rainer de Ritter have both stumbled on what initially started out to be a very hot run towards the top of the middleweight division and have basically met each other as they've started to struggle at the top of the plateau, it seems. How do you think this weekend works out for those two gentlemen?
I feel like Rainier gets the win without a shadow of a doubt. He's definitely more experienced. The dude was a champion with one championship. He was actually on a really good run there until he had this weird ass loss where he kind of just gassed out more than anything against Brennan Allen. That's a tough fucking loss to take, though, just because Allen has been through some big fights, kind of shat the bed before multiple times. So it's a rough spot for Rainier to try to climb back after this now, but grappling wise and even striking wise, damn sure think he's an overall better fighter in every aspect here. He's probably going to get an easy bounce back. Cal was getting wins over some of the older guys in the middleweight division to climb his way up, and the kid was not showing too much. Like I said earlier, with his grappling or whatnot, I feel like the best we can hope for is to get a finish, though. The question really is it going to be two grown men laying on each other for 15 minutes, or is Rainier going to dominate the fight? But I think Rainier's going to walk away with the win.
I could definitely see that as potential for damn sure. I can definitely see that as an option here. So that'll bring us back across the octagon here to you, Golf T. We have got a weird co-main event here. I don't know that anybody's particularly excited about it, but it does potentially have some implications in the top 10 of the middleweight division here. So seeing as how both guys really need a big W here, who do you think comes out on top in our co-main event Saturday evening?
The saddest part about this fight is that it has top 10 implications. I'll say it. Look, I thought Renner de Ritter had that special quality to get to the top with what we had seen. But when you get exposed by Brennan Allen, your stock drops drastically. Mahalia on the other side, no better. He looked like he had some fucking potential. Now, to be fair, he ran into the brick wall that is Imavov. Right now, Imavov is an unstoppable fucking force. Of those two, when I look at the stock on who they've lost to, Paul stock's a little bit higher. Not to mention, Bahia obviously knows how to grind out a decision win, because that's all the wins he has are by decision. Oh no, I take that back. I think he has one stoppage in the UFC. One. Everything else, decision machine. Oh, Renner Ritter does finish people. The vast majority of them are grappling. So what I can see happening here is so long as Bahalio can keep it off the ground and out of a grappling, he will take this. Purely because I don't think Renner Ritter took that loss to heart. And it wasn't just that he got beat, he quit on the fucking stool. Because I'm tired. My pussy hurts. I have sand in my vagina. I'm making a pearl. So I'm going to quit on the stool. No, you sign up for a fight. You go in there, get your ass knocked out if you're tired. You'll get sleep that way. Don't quit on the stool. You quit on the stool, I will never pick him to win a fight ever again because of that. You quit on the stool, you're a fucking quitter and a pansy. No, thank you. Goodbye. Bahalio gets this. He's going to make him tired and he's going to quit.
That is absolutely a very real possibility. There is 100% chance we could see that. Now, whether Durainer's actually been fucking working on his gas tank or just fucking around climbing mountains in Vegas like he was on Embedded, we won't really know until Saturday gets here, but could be an interesting one for sure. That being said, brings us to round 4. Flip things back over to the other side. Golf T will start this one off with you here. We have got the BMF belt on the line. TJ has mentioned it before. Christian's mentioned it before. I have said it a bunch of times, and I will continue to say it a bunch of times. I don't think we should be legitimizing the BMF belt as an actual title. I have no issue with it being a fun thing to do every now and again. But if the UFC insists on making it a legitimate thing, this is the kind of fucking fight you have to win to wear that fucking belt, in my opinion. We have got two of the undeniably baddest motherfuckers in UFC history fighting for this belt this weekend. And unfortunately, one of them has to lose. So, TJ, who gets to wear that BMF belt come Sunday morning?
You know, I'm so sad I have to pick a team here. Because I said it earlier. I don't want to pick a team. I don't want to pick somebody to lose here. However, in the spirit of what we do here, I'm going to say fuck you all and not pick a goddamn winner. But what I will say is we're guaranteed a great fucking fight, and at some point, there will be that fucking point down with 10 seconds left at the end of a round. Which round, I'm not sure. I'm hoping the 5th after a hell of a war, and then somebody goes to sleep. Who? I don't know, and I'm not going to pick a winner. Because in my eyes, this fight can go either way. Depending on how Max starts, because we know he ramps it up as he gets long, he could very well take it into deep waters and get it done. However, we've seen what Charles is capable of even when he's fucking hurt. So this could go either way. I'm not picking winner, but I will say it will be one of the most exciting fights that we have seen in quite some time. In fact, I would even put my money where my mouth is on this one and guarantee it. I wish this was not the main event. So that way, the casuals who are only going to stay up until fucking 8 o'clock would get to see it. Because you would make a hell of a lot more hardcore fans watching this fight.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with that. I think it's all but guaranteed at some point in one round or another that 10-second clacker is going to go off. Max is going to fucking point down and Charles is going to nod and they're going to put their foot in that tire and shit's going to get crazy. When there's no talent. So that'll bring us back across the octagon, as it were, here. Christian, somebody's got to win and somebody's got to lose, as much as it's going to suck no matter which way it comes out. only one man gets to wear that black belt Sunday morning and call themselves the baddest motherfucker in the UFC. Who do you think we get to see doing it?
I feel like, yeah, compared to TJ there, I agree with him. It's going to be one of the best fights, probably the best fight so far this year. I was excited about it years ago. It ended really weird. Getting the rematch now, it's going to be fantastic. Charles presents a lot of dangers, but I'm going blessed, man. He's been so good as of late, other than the stupid fucking Taporia loss. And it was the same with Volk or Max. They got clipped, but they didn't get put stone cold out the way that he did Charlie. Now that one was finally one where I was like, okay, yeah, that was rough. But no matter what, Max lost, right? He's got to build his way back. He's done great since then. That fight against Dustin was something. I feel like that fight the other year against Justin Gaethje too. He's probably going to do something similar this weekend. The biggest dangers is if it gets down to the ground, and I think Charles would have the advantages there. But this stays a standing battle. We are going to have one hell of a fight, and I definitely think Max will edge it out. He's still a tough motherfucker with an iron chin. Charles also can get hurt and battle through it, but at the same time, that's where I think things will edge out. Stays standing. Charles is going to get hurt more often, where Max will have that granite chin and keep on trekking through. That'll be a hell of a fucking sight to see, though, whether casuals are around or not. I will fucking be around. I'm almost passing out now, but I'm gonna be fighting through that shit every fucking second I can this week.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I think it's going to be a great fucking fight no matter how long it lasts, but for some reason something keeps telling me that we're not getting the point down in round 5. But I've got this feeling that somebody's going to get fucking winged close to the end of like 3, and that point down's going to come and we're not going to see a round 5 one way or the other. But we will know more about how that is likely or unlikely to happen as we get closer to Saturday. That being said, originally I was going to ask you gentlemen for round 5 about something that we have been hearing nonstop in the news for weeks now, but instead we're going to go a little bit of a different directions here. So for round 5, Golf T, would you like to go first, or would you like to let the kid keep running first?
I'll let him run the pack for a little bit.
All right. So, Christian, for round 5 here, originally we were going to be talking about the potential return and unreturn and return and unreturn and return and unreturn of Conor McGregor. Now we know potentially would have been against Carlos Praches, and that could have been a fucking insane matchup. But I saw a video yesterday that gave me an idea for a better and an even more important question. I'm going to give the same question to both of you here. So, Christian, you get the chance to set the tone here. There is only one correct answer. Fat Adele or skinny Adele, and why?
I slightly heard the question there, but
Fat Adele or skinny Adele, and why?
okay. So if I'm going to be honest here, neither. And my reasoning why: never liked her music. Good voice, not my kind of music, and I think she's looked like shit either way. Not to be offensive, but she looked like shit when she was fat Adele, and she looks like even more shit with the Ozempic aspect, like most of those Hollywood ladies now. So yeah, Maybe my opinion wasn't a good one to have in this, but yeah, it is bad either way. That's my answer on this one.
I can understand that answer. Not the one I would have chosen, but I can understand that answer for sure. So that brings us back across the octagon for the final time this evening here, Golf T. Fat Adele or Skinny Adele, and why?
No, I can agree. Not my type of music. Has a great singing voice, though. Not my type of music. However, you don't change the recipe. You go with the fucking original. Look, it's like every other great thing that happens, and then they try to change it, and it gets fucking worse. You keep the OG original. More cushion for the pushing, whatever you want to call it. Give me that old big old fat ass, and let's call it a day. Fat Adele is the way to go.
All right. So, gentlemen, after much deliberation, the judges have returned a verdict here. Let's see if this is going to work or not. It's not. Hang on. Let me try it this way. Your winner, 48-47, is Golf T Vapes.
That's that difference between a million and a billion there, sunshine. You're learning, young buck. You're learning.
I've got to say, Adele might not have always made the best music, but Skinny Adele also could have never done Skyfall. And as much as it might be more healthy, jam only shakes like that because jelly can't. So that being said, tip of the cap to both of you gentlemen. Much appreciated. Well played on both sides here. That, ladies and gentlemen, is all we have got for this particular episode here. Like I mentioned earlier, if you are new, first and foremost, welcome. Thank you for tuning in. If you like what we get up to around here, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe, make sure you don't miss any of the shenanigans, make sure your notifications are on so you tune into all of the fun and fuckery around here. We try and do the show pretty much every Thursday night when there are fights to talk about. We dual stream live, youtube.com/@I'mNoJoe and twitch.tv/I'mNoJoe. We're up there on both. We do this live for free for you fine folks to enjoy. Pick it up, whichever one works out best for you. If you missed the show live, we also leave the replays up on both platforms as long as they are allowed. If you missed the replay on purpose, we also understand that we too own mirrors. For that exact reason, the week after we go live here on YouTube and Twitch, we put the all audio version of the show up on anchor.fm/I'mNoJoe. You can get it there for your podcast consumption platform of choice, Google, Spotify, Apple Music, whatever you use. It's up there for free, just like it is over on YouTube and Twitch. If you really like what we get up to around here, the best way to help us out, patreon.com/I'mNoJoe. For as little as $1 a month, as much as you are comfortable giving, you can help us do what we do around here. And in exchange for as little as $1 a month, first and foremost, we put your name at the end of every broadcast on the channel so that everyone knows how fucking awesome you are for helping us out. But as a thank you for any level of Patreon subscription, you get access to the unaired and unairable content, all of the things that got us kicked off of OnlyFans as a platform, as well as Patreon exclusive I'm No Joe content is all there just for the folks who support us because we appreciate that as well. That being said, when we wrap things up around here Thursday night, that is not the end of the fun because tomorrow and pretty much every Friday morning, that gentleman, wait, no, he's over there. That gentleman and his other half drop their podcast, the Slow Bake and Contemplate podcast, over on Spreaker.com. Links to that podcast, their social media, and their very own channel on the I'm No Joe Discord server, all down below, whether you are watching or listening to this. Click on it. Tell them how damn good they're doing.
Appreciate you, brother. The fun is definitely not fucking stopping this week. You got to make sure we mentioned it earlier. Brother TJ doing something real special this weekend, not just going live on a YouTube platform. He's doing something real special for some kids in need, trying to raise some money, get some bikes and shit together. You pop on in there if you got that free time. Spread the word and help support if you ain't got the money to support in that aspect. And everything else the brother always does should be down in the description as well. Make sure you tune in Saturday for that fucking live stream. Show the brother some love. Show the kids some love.
Thanks, sir. Appreciate it. Like I said, that's going to be Saturday at noon on Fresh 03's channel. He's hosting. He's hosted every year that we've done this because we do this as a collective effort, so it will be greatly appreciated. And I want to put a bunch of bikes together. I want the arthritis in my hands to be fucking angry the next day because I've had to put so many together. So please come join us, donate if you can. If you can't donate, please share the link with people. That way somebody else can donate. Now, with all that being said, there's going to be some downtime between now and then. Meter has many things that you can go check out by going down below linktree / the Meter does many things or linktree / I'm no Joe. It's up to you. And it will teach you each and every one of the many things that the Meter does do and fill those time gaps in your day. There's constantly new stuff coming out. I constantly see new little placards and placeholders. I'm just saying, go check it out. You might find something you didn't know you needed.
Thank you very much, sir. Always much appreciated. Yeah, if you didn't know, March is my birthday month, and because it's my birthday month and I do what the fuck I want, I'm putting out a whole bunch of videos over on the other channel this month. I dropped the one yesterday. There's one coming out in a couple of days. There's another one coming out next week. We're going fucking ham over there. So if you have not seen the other channel and you are into the devil's lettuce, definitely click on that link. But first and foremost, most importantly, if you take away nothing else from this video, bring your fucking ass Saturday to this live stream. We are trying to get bikes for kids who need them. End of story. Kids deserve bikes. We're trying to make sure they get those goddamn bikes. You can help us do that. We would greatly appreciate it. They would greatly appreciate that. If you are listening to this, you've already missed it, but that doesn't matter because there's still time. The links will be down in the description. You can still click, find the actual fundraiser itself, give a little more until we have to put the fucking bikes together. Help us help some fucking kids. That's the most important thing. You want to do something for my birthday this month? Give some fucking money and help us help some fucking kids. That's what I want, God damn it. That being said, that is all we have got for this particular episode. So if you like what we get up to around here, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe, turn the notifications on so you don't miss anything, share an episode of this with a buddy, and help us grow the damn show. The other side of that coin, if you don't like what we get up to around here, first and foremost, what the fuck are you still doing this deep into a podcast that you didn't enjoy? Give it a thumbs down and go fuck yourself. We won't even dispute it. That being said, that is all we have got for this particular episode. So until next time, boys and girls, don't let ignorance stop you. You can root for anything. Bring your ass onto the stream Saturday and help us help some kids.
Everybody was kung fu fighting. Those kids were fast as lightning. In fact, it was a little bit frightening. How do I say goodbye to what we had? The good times that made us say